to receive over 400 million rand to disinfect and sanitize Gauteng schools must pay back the money. Now, that's an order from the Special Tribunal. Findings revealed that the Gauteng Education Department irregularly awarded 431 million rand in contracts in response to COVID-19. The Special Investigating Unit has since welcomed the ruling. For more on this, let's bring in SIU Spokesperson Kaizer Kganyago. Mr. Kganyago, good afternoon and thank you very much for your time. Now, before we delve into the findings, can you just share your reaction to the judgment itself?
Good afternoon and good afternoon to your viewers. We are very elated as the SIU with this kind of judgment, because for us it shows that the issue that we've always been talking about of consequence management is working very well, and this is the part of our work that we have got control over as a SIU. And when we get results like this, we are very elated about it.
Then to the findings. It was found that the Education Department didn't in fact follow proper procurement processes, nor was proper costing done. How exactly did they go about awarding those contracts and even arrive at certain figures?
Yes, it was a very interesting one. When it came to our attention, we went and we looked at the whatever happened. Firstly, the process of procurement was not followed, where people are given a fair chance to bid. They just gave it to whoever they felt they needed to give to. They gave it to friends and family. And we also found that in some instances, there were just names of companies that were sent by WhatsApp. And then they were given the job. And then that's what the first issue, the procurement process and the policies were not followed. But secondly, when it came to issues like that, where you deal with sanitation of classrooms, you have got to say, this is the square meterage of the space that you're going to be sanitizing or disinfecting, and therefore this is how much per square meter. But with this particular one, they didn't do that. Somebody in the department just decided to say, if it is a primary school, you'll get 250,000 rand. If it is a secondary school, 270,000. If it is a district office, 300,000. Regardless of whether that primary school has got 5 classes or 20 classes, it doesn't matter. You just get the money. Therefore, that process also was very flawed. And when we felt that we could not have had a situation like that where people had laissez-faire, but I think it is because people thought that because there is a disaster and there is an emergency, nobody will come checking whether we have followed processes or not. Little did they know that we will come checking, and this is what we found.
No, little did they know, but honestly very concerning, because most of these people have worked in procurement for the longest time. To a certain extent, when it comes to costing, you would need to justify a certain amount. Like you say, if it's a primary school, there are smaller primary schools, there are bigger primary schools. Why in their world would they just have some general figure that they arrive at without even stipulating how they got to 250,000?
Definitely, and some of the companies that were there were hair salons. Some of them were car washes that had never even done a work like that. They are not even registered. Some of the companies that were given the work was not even registered on the central database of government. And all of those processes were not followed, and they thought nobody will see it, and we saw that.
Then to the recovery process, though. I mean, just looking at this, yes, clearly they flouted all processes, but I can still foresee a lot of back and forth where these business entities could invoke the Apportionment of Damages Act, where they say, you know what, you did to a certain extent as the department derive benefit from the services provided. Therefore, we can't surrender all the money. So how are you looking to resolve the figures issue?
The figures issues is resolved in the judgment. The judgment is very clear. We understand that they might have used their money to buy material and so on, and that part is taken care in the act itself, in the judgment itself, where what we want to get is not the whole total 431 million. It is the profit. We are saying, because now the contracts that they entered into have been set aside, they are unlawful. We are saying, give us the receipts and we will see the things that you have bought, and then we will give you back. Can keep that money of the things that you have bought. Anything that is profit out of that transaction has to come back, because they cannot benefit from an unlawful contract.
Sure. No, it's going to be a very interesting one. And then for those that have possibly spent the money, I take it there now you're going to be going after their assets now.
No, definitely. If you are unable to pay, because When we did this matter at the Special Tribunal, all of them were cited. They were respondents in this matter. They know about this, and they understand the judgment has been sent to all of them. If you're unable to pay, we will have to come for your assets, and if you've bought houses and cars with this, we'll take them and sell them, and the proceeds of that will go back to the SIU, and the SIU will give it to the Department of Education after we have reconciled the books.
I suppose this whole process will serve as a deterrent to would-be fraudsters in future, that you cannot get away. But then what happens to the senior officials? Because I know that in your report you had recommended that there be some sort of internal process that is followed. What is happening there?
No, we have already started that process, even long before this court case was done, because this court case was just about getting the money back. But before that, we had made a referral to the department where we indicated who was at fault, and the evidence was given to them. And I think the MEC came public at some point to say they've started the disciplinary processes against those people, and we'll await to hear what the outcome is going to be for consequence management purposes. And then we've also referred the criminality side of things to the NPA, so that they can look at it and investigate it further to see whether there is a need for those people to be prosecuted or not.
And this is for the officials as well as the contractors, or you've only referred for just the officials?
Yes. Mainly the officials, but if we found that you were colluding as a contractor, therefore you will be also referred as a matter of fact, because colluding will institute a criminal offense.
And then just before I let you go, on another matter, how is that process to have various state institutions pay you for the PPE corruption investigations? Because we saw that unusual approach in your report. You went on to state that you haven't been paid. I can imagine contractors are gearing to litigate, and that will obviously inflate the costs. How are you going there? Has the president responded? Treasury is working with you? What's happening?
No, definitely. We went to SCOPA, I think a week or two ago, with the presidency. They have said to SCOPA, with us, we are working with them as a presidency. They are setting up a mechanism in the presidency to monitor not only the payments, but also to monitor the recommendations of the SIU, so that they are able to follow up government departments to discipline people that needs to be disciplined and so on. That process has started, and we are comfortable it will be okay. Like we said at the time when we wrote in the report that they were being owed a lot of money, over 200 million rand on PPEs alone. And generally, as on all the others, we are owed more than 600 million rand. Therefore, we are working nicely with Treasury and with the presidency to make sure that those things are resolved. But I need to hasten to say that at the present moment, we are financially stable, but we are worried that in 2-3 years to come, if this matter is not resolved, we might find ourselves in a difficult position.
All right. Mr. Kganyago, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. That's Kaizer Kganyago's Special Investigating Unit spokesperson. Now, still to come on